Well, a Woodbury County judge has issued a ruling in the lawsuit between former Sioux City School District Superintendent Dr. Paul Gausman and 4 members of the district's board. That ruling from Judge Jeffrey Neary comes 10 days after a hearing to decide punishment for the district and its officials. In February, they were found to have violated Iowa's Open Meetings Act by conducting a closed session of the board in January of 2022. While the judge declined to remove any of the 4 members in question, Dan Greenwell, Jan George, Taylor Goodvin, and Bob Michelson, he did fine Greenwell $500 and also ordered him to pay Gausman's court costs. The judge says he only fined Greenwell because it was abundantly clear that George, Goodvin, and Michelson believed the subject of the meeting was an ethical matter. The judge adds that Greenwell's testimony reveals an animosity in him towards Dr. Gausman that is deeply seated, concluding Greenwell did not act in good faith, but rather acted vindictive in nature. Now, the judge adds that during Greenwell's testimony in January, which you're seeing here, Greenwell displays an attitude of arrogance when challenged as to his motives in the action. Another hearing still needs to be scheduled to determine the attorney costs that Greenwell will be required to pay. Now, Dan Greenwell is responding to that ruling tonight, releasing a statement to KTIV that says, in part, "I believe the court had some items correct in its ruling while I disagree with others. I have consistently made hard decisions and embraced frank discussions for the betterment of our students, the staff, and taxpayers, and will continue to do so in the future." You can read his full statement online at ktiv.com.